Get ready to be amazed because today we are taking the brand new Ubuntu 24.10 for a spin, and let me tell you, this is a huge update. This is the 20th anniversary edition of Ubuntu and it's jam-packed with new features, major improvements and some really cool surprises. From a supercharged GNOME 47 with responsive dialogues, accelerated screen recording, to the introduction of the all-powerful SysProf and groundbreaking VR headset support, this release is a game changer. We are also witnessing a huge shift in Ubuntu's kernel policy, embracing the latest Linux kernel 6.11 for a faster, more cutting-edge experience. And for all of you NVIDIA users, get ready for a smoother or bumpier ride with Wayland as the default display server. But that's not all. We are getting a redesigned file manager, revamped app center, brand new security center, and some nostalgic touches celebrating Ubuntu's 20th anniversary. Trust me, this is one release you absolutely don't want to miss. Let's jump right in. The biggest update that Ubuntu 24.10 brings is GNOME 47. The newest version of the popular desktop is filled with polishing touches and refinements. GNOME 47 is packed with subtle updates everywhere. There are too many to talk about them here, but let me show you some significant ones. The dialog boxes are redesigned. GNOME developers have played with border radius of these dialogs and I must say they look better now. Also, the dialog boxes are now responsive. On laptops with smaller screens and even when a parent app window is smaller, the options rearrange vertically instead of horizontal. This is a nice touch and makes these elements look more premium. You'll also enjoy smoother screen recording on the new Ubuntu. GNOME has added hardware acceleration to Intel and AMD hardware, and this will offload some of the processing over to the GPU. If you have previously experienced choppiness and desktop lag when using the pre-installed screen recorder on GNOME like I have, you can expect better performance now. That choppiness is vastly gone and even the quality of screen recordings is better now. We also get accent colors now. Wait, we already had accent colors, didn't we? Yes, we did. But GNOME didn't provide that feature and Ubuntu developers had added that feature themselves. And this was exclusively available on Ubuntu. Now, GNOME 47 brings native accent colors and Ubuntu developers have switched to the GNOME's implementation from their own. This will provide better compatibility down the road, so the colors are shuffled here. There are many more things that GNOME 47 is bringing here, but let's not make this a GNOME 47 video. But if you are interested in that, check out this video. Let's get back to Ubuntu 24.10. Ubuntu 24.10 comes with the Wayland DRM lease protocol enabled out of the box. This update actually comes from GNOME and this lets you connect and use your VR headsets with this system. This protocol lets your computer lease direct rendering manager resources to your VR headset. Steam VR is going to be a big beneficiary here. This year, VR headsets have seen a big spike in interest with Apple Vision Pro and Meta Quest releases and even Meta's Ray-Ban AR glasses. This update is going to let people connect and use VR headsets with Ubuntu in a more streamlined way. Although this is a very niche topic right now, it is a very important one nonetheless. Work on this protocol started almost 3 years ago. It's nice to see this implemented here. In other big news, Ubuntu 24.10 will be powered by the Linux kernel version 6.11. Now this is the latest version of the Linux kernel at the moment. Yeah, you heard it right. Ubuntu has made a big change in its kernel policy and is switching to the newest kernel available. Historically, Ubuntu has always shipped with a slightly older but well-tested version of the kernel to provide better stability. But this also meant that Ubuntu didn't support the newest hardware at times and even missed out on some new technologies. After listening to community feedback, Ubuntu has decided to go with the latest kernel. I'm really surprised at this decision. I always preferred the stability factor that came with Ubuntu kernels. But recently, all the new kernels have been very stable on release as well. How it will turn out though is to be seen. Linux 6.11 brings speed boost for the ext4 file system, so you can expect better read and write speeds. This change in Ubuntu's kernel policy is really big. I don't know whether for the better or the worse though. Ubuntu 24.10 is making another huge change. For people with NVIDIA GPUs, Wayland Display Server will be used by default. Ubuntu, NVIDIA, Wayland. This is not the most popular trio in the Linux world. Ubuntu has had a complex relationship with Wayland and I think it's the last big distro to switch to Wayland from X11. And NVIDIA and Wayland has historically been a hot mess. screen tearing, occasional bugs, and compatibility issues have bugged us Nvidia users. But things have been coming along nicely recently with Nvidia proprietary drivers playing more and more smooth with Wayland. Nvidia's latest drivers are also introducing explicit sync, which will better stabilize the Wayland plus Nvidia combo and also improve the performance. Things will get better fast now. Yeah, we might face some minor bugs now and then, but it'll all improve fast. If it's absolutely unworkable for you, you can still switch to X11. But ultimately, this is going to be a good thing as Wayland will give us better performance, better security, and ultimately better experience in the long run. Ubuntu 24.10 is the 20th anniversary edition of Ubuntu. Yes sir, it has been 2 decades of this amazing Linux distribution. This is a moment of celebration for everybody. Love Ubuntu or hate Ubuntu, but you can't deny what Ubuntu championed. This is truly a huge milestone for Ubuntu developers. Ubuntu debuted with Ubuntu 4.10 Warty Warthog. Yeah, I know. Ubuntu's first version was version 4.10. They use dates for version numbers, so. Ubuntu 24.10 brings celebrations and nostalgia as well. You'll see the 20 years branded during boot up and login screen. And Ubuntu's original login sound plays after login. This was what actually caught my attention. Then there's an Easter egg here. Jump into the accent colors and select the Warty brown accent color and this will turn the top panel white. This is a throwback to the retro look of the first version. There's also a redesigned wallpaper based on the original Ubuntu 4.10. Seeing all this made me nostalgic about my first Ubuntu. It was Ubuntu 14.04 LTS and man, this has been a crazy ride. Congratulations are in order for Ubuntu developers, its users and you, the open source community which made everything of this possible. Alright, getting back to the video, the file manager here has received some big updates that improve the functionality and also make it more integrated with the system. The first thing that you notice or overlook completely is that the sidebar here has been reorganized. Yeah, now you see it. The sidebar now has 3 sections. The top section has system locations or system shortcuts like the home, recent, trash, and network has been brought up here. This was previously housed in the bottom section. Then in the second section, you will see a smaller number of shortcuts and these are completely customizable. If you don't use the music shortcut, you can just go ahead and remove it. And if you have some other directory that you frequently visit, you can just drag and drop it here and it will be added here. You can also move around these shortcuts. Then finally, if you have more than one disk on your computer like I do, they were previously shown under a completely new screen under the other location tab here. Now, that additional step you had to click here has been eliminated and all your additional disks are brought in right here. As someone who distro hops constantly, I always keep my data on these additional disks. And to get to them, I had to click on other locations and then click on the disk. Now it might feel like it just removes that one additional click, but seeing my disks located right here just makes the file manager experience more accessible. Okay, there's another tremendously huge update to the file manager here. You know the file picker that pops up when you're selecting a file for upload or just choosing a file for an application? That was actually a standalone application called the GTK file picker. While it got the job done, it had its issues. One major pain point being its non-existent thumbnail support. Essentially, you had to know the name of the file to pick it here. I upload files on a daily basis and there was no way for me to see a preview of my images when I was uploading them. So instead of using the file picker, I always dragged and dropped files directly from the file manager. Now that issue has been solved here. They also simplified the architecture by making this Nautilus file manager the file picker. The new file picker will stand out with some changes. This is basically your file manager, so you have all your file manager features like your shortcuts, search, different views and sorting options, along with obviously the thumbnail view and all the other expected stuff. This definitely looks more aesthetic than the old file picker, and it's also going to give you a more coherent experience when you're trying to upload or pick files here. Ubuntu's App Center is being polished and improved rapidly with every new update. It is a new piece of software, so this is expected. With this update, we get improvements that make using the App Center a little bit more enjoyable. Firstly, installing .deb packages works now. This feature was actually released in the last version itself, but it didn't always work as expected and it needed those refining touches. Now things are much better. You can right click on a downloaded .deb file and open them with the App Center. You will see this notice informing you that you are installing a third-party package and it can be potentially unsafe. Then you see the description of the software and the size, and you can go ahead and click on install. The self-update mechanism has been updated here. This thing gave people some problems in the last version, it's fixed now. The manage page here in App Center has received some updates as well. When an app is being installed or updated, you will be able to see the progress here in this page. This is a good touch. And you can also directly uninstall snaps from this page. Before this, you had to go to the application page and then uninstall it from this drop down. Now you can directly do it from here itself. The manage page here has just gotten more informative and powerful. And also, if you're using Ubuntu on laptops with a touchscreen or tablets, the App Center gets improved touch support with scrolling enabled as well. As I said, the App Center here is being updated and improved rapidly, and I'm happy to see this. App Center is a core component of the Ubuntu experience and it's shaping up very nicely. Ubuntu introduces a brand new Security Center app. This too is created using Flutter, and right now there's nothing that exciting here. Now it just gives a toggle to enable file system permissions for Snap apps. If you enable this, Snaps will have to ask for your permission before they can access your home directory files and folders. This is a great start as Ubuntu needs user-defined permissions for Snaps like Flatpaks already have. What's planned for this Security Center is more interesting though. This Security Center in its fullest glory will be able to manage full disk encryption, firewall controls, and more permissions. Ubuntu Pro controls might also be migrated to this app from the settings. That's planned for the near future updates. Ubuntu is already a very secure system, but with this control center, Ubuntu developers are aiming to bring transparency and granular control over to its users. Many of the proposed security measures are already available and running on Ubuntu, but they are accessible only using the terminal, which can be daunting to many people. Managing security should be simple. The user should feel confident with it, and this is what exactly Ubuntu's new Security Center will promote. The Ubuntu dock has received some polishing touches. In previous versions of Ubuntu, when a Snap app was being updated, the icon just vanished from the dock and popped back up once the update was done. It was kinda distracting and not the greatest way to show an app being updated. With the 24.10 release, they have gone with a much simpler and tried and tested way. The application icon grays out, denoting you can't use it right now, and a progress bar appears on top of it. The progress bar is just there, it doesn't update the progress though. That's a feature for the next LTS release. Once the update is done, then the icon vanishes and comes back. What can I say? These guys really like the vanishing act. The context menu that you get when you right click on an icon here has been retouched. The first entry here is a text item that shows the name of the application, but it's not too flashy or disturbing, and it's still a good touch considering that some apps can have slightly long context menus. Apps installed as Snaps will also show an app detail option at the bottom of the menu. This will directly take you to the particular applications page in the App Center, where you can see application details like the version number and also take actions like uninstalling or updating that particular application. This is a nice addition. The new Linux kernel, shiny features, and updated packages are all cool, but I'm really curious about the new wallpaper set in every new Ubuntu. We get a colorful bunch this time too, with the distribution's mascot, the oracular Oriole, taking the center stage in these wallpapers. The logo they have created this time is pretty cool. It almost looks like a spell chart or something. This wallpaper is pretty cool too. It shows Ubuntu's logo journey through time. This is what we had 20 years ago, this was 10 years ago, and this is what we have now. Finally, we have a redesigned version of the first ever Ubuntu wallpaper that shipped with Ubuntu 4.10. This Ubuntu release is bringing up a lot of nostalgic feelings. It's really taking me back in time. You will agree with me that the Disk Usage Analyzer, while an incredibly useful software, looks like it came straight out of the 80s. I don't know why this reminds me of the old Star Trek. Yeah, I'm gonna call it the old Star Trek. So under GNOME's initiative to revamp all the default apps to look more modern and aesthetic, the Disk Usage Analyzer gets a big visual overhaul. The elements in this application, colors, loading animations, everything has been retouched to bring the design language up to date. It looks very nice now. The accessibility settings gives us a new activate Windows on hover option that lets you activate a window by just moving your mouse over it. This is a cool feature, especially if you work with 2 or 3 windows tiled side by side like this, and this is going to be helpful when you are typing. While it might seem like you are just saving a single click, the boosted responsiveness is going to be enjoyable. You know what would have been really awesome? Instead of just activating the windows, if this brought the applications to the foreground, that would have been a game changer for people like me who work with multiple applications and are continually switching back and forth. The power profiles that we see here in the status menu have been optimized in different areas. One big thing to note here is the power performance daemon is now battery level aware. This info is now made available to hardware drivers and they can tune different parameters based on the battery level to deliver an optimized performance or better battery backup. AMD P-State drivers mainly have received many smart features and improvements in this department. When adding additional keyboard layouts or languages from the input sources, you can now see how the keyboard layout looks by clicking on this icon. This new feature will help you select the correct input source for your language easily without having to try out all the options. Most languages do have multiple layouts, so this is a good thing. Now, the online account feature has been improved. IMAP and SMTP email account details are now automatically completed based on the address used. Microsoft 365 accounts now get support for email, calendar, and contact integration. WebDAV accounts are now easier to set up as available services are automatically discovered. Ubuntu 24.10 comes with SysProf installed out of the box. SysProf is a system-wide performance profiling utility. Basically, what it does is, it lets you capture and analyze resource usage or performance information of all the system processes and applications running on that system. Things like CPU usage of an application, its memory consumption, and other core metrics of a running application can be monitored using SysProf. This lets application developers identify performance optimization opportunities, bottlenecks, and other issues easily. While this is a cool thing, not denying that, this is a really useful tool for developers, but not everybody is going to use this. Are 80% of users going to use this? 50%? I don't think so. SysProf should have been kept as an installable tool in the repositories. As useful as it is, this is going to be just bloat for most people. Or am I missing something here? But wait, there's more here. Ubuntu 24.10 is an interim release, and let me tell you, that comes with some cool perks. It comes packed with a huge number of package updates. We are talking fresh versions of pretty much everything. All your software, programming languages, libraries, tools, you name it. Everything gets that sweet upgrade treatment with cutting-edge features, quicker performance, and just a more modern feel overall. Now, Ubuntu LTS versions lean towards stability. They are the steady, reliable ones. But these cutting-edge interim releases, this is where the real excitement happens. When you update to the latest interim release, newer versions of all your installed software are also pulled, and you get to experience the new features and tech in those apps as well. How cool is that? There you have it, people. Ubuntu 24.10. For me, this was not just about updates and exciting stuff. This was a walk down the memory lane for me. Ubuntu 14.04 was my first Linux distro, and what can I say? It changed the direction of my life. Ubuntu 24.10 feels familiar. It's still the same system that we have come to appreciate, but there is a technological leap here. The new Linux kernel strategy, under the hood improvements, and a few new stuff. Now coming to the million-dollar question. Should you upgrade from Ubuntu 24.04 LTS? If there's something here that caught your attention and there's something that will improve the quality of your computing life like the VR update, sure, go ahead. If not, you're in good hands with Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. The LTS part there is very appealing. Long-term support versions of Ubuntu objectively provide a more balanced system than non-LTSs. But if you're just itching for the new and shiny stuff, jump up to the Oracular Oriole ship. You can download Ubuntu 24.10 using the link given in the description below. Alright, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Also, turn on the notifications so that you're the first one to know when anything major happens in the world of Linux. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up too. And if you're interested in leveling up your Linux skills, the link to my course Linux Mastery Express is given in the description below. It's designed to teach you Linux and take you from zero to hero within the shortest amount of time possible. You'll be using Linux like a pro within a matter of hours, so definitely check that out. Next up, check out the top 10 insanely cool Linux terminal apps that you should be using. I've got some really cool ones there, so definitely don't miss that. Alright, this is Linux Techs signing out.